So after medicine, why MBBS?
Sir, I have always been interested in public services, sir. But I was a student of science. I was very interested in sciences, sir. So that is how I have become doctor. But then after my MBBS, I thought to resume my dream of public services, sir.
Now that we have got this pandemic, and we still are under this pandemic second wave. Now, if you are posted as an administrator in one of the district in Andhra Pradesh,
Yes, sir.
or in Telangana, maybe, what would be your priority? How exactly would you handle the pandemic?
So first thing, awareness generation, sir. Since it's a pandemic, people already knew many things, but I think making the information more transparent would be my first priority, sir. The case rate, the daily death rate, and positivity rate, the number of tests the local district administration is carrying out at different institutions. I would make them more transparent and more accessible to the people, sir, using the help of TV, radio, and all. That instead will create a kind of awareness within the people regarding the severity. And second thing, sir, it is important to increase the number of beds in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, tier 3 villages of a district, sir. So that in turn will decrease the load on the tertiary sector. So the issue of the patients being shifted to the cities like Hyderabad can be stopped. So I would also take the help of the local health administration in increasing the number of beds. Would also work with the NGOs there, sir. And the third important thing would be vaccination strategy, sir. Since the vaccines, we have been doing well with the vaccination rate in quite one to 2 months time. I think changing the model, sir, like why should people go to the vaccination center when we can take the vaccines to the people? That will in turn address the issue of vaccine hesitancy as well as accessibility also. So I would also work with the paramedical staff along with the district medical officers in coordinating so that the vaccination rate will be increased in the district. So these would be few steps that I would take.
Now, tell me, why does this mutation happens? We have got alpha, beta, gamma, delta variants. Why this mutation happens?
So it is seen that when compared with virus and other organisms, it is more often in a virus because it is most primitive organism, and due to the replication, which it tends to happen at a very faster pace, while trying to make a photocopy of its genetic material, the virus tends to mistake by taking another codon for the same cell. So its mistake is actually becoming a mistake for the whole world itself. So it is in the process of replication, the variants come out, sir.
Okay. Now, do you see any end to this pandemic?
Yes, sir, I do see it.
How exactly? I mean, would is the last mutation, or would there be a couple of more mutations, or that's the end to it?
Sir, as far as the pandemic is present, as far as the virus is present in any nation, we can't rule out the emergence of a variant, sir, because the only thing which results into variant is its increasing in infectivity rate, and the more and more density in which it spreads within the population is how the variants tend to emerge. So I don't think this would be the last one, and there are chances that more and more variants would appear, sir, in the future.
No, recently there was a news that Pfizer and Moderna would come to India, but now there's no timeline that is set for their coming to India. Some groups are saying that probably they would not be coming to India. What is the reason why they are not coming to India?
Sir, Moderna has already been given the emergency use authorization, sir, from Government of India very recently, like 2 days back. And so the reasons for them not coming into India would be firstly vaccine indemnity clause, sir, which they are asking for the government of India to provide. And secondly, maybe that we were not very clear regarding the vaccination strategy we are going to adopt. Earlier, it was said that the state governments have to procure directly, and then we made a uniform vaccination procurement strategy. So this indifference with how we are going to go with the vaccination was also one problem which they were facing, sir. So this could be few things which is hindering them.
So what do you think? Should indemnity clause that or waiver that they are asking for, should we be giving them?
So personally, I think no, sir, because we have already given many leeways. We have curbed the bridge trials. We have decreased the custom taxes. We made the clearances more and more easy. And if at all we go for vaccine indemnity also, though the vaccination rate may improve, the person who has to bear the grudge of it would be the common man. So instead, I think we can make a fund with budget support of the government of India as well as this private player, and then use this vaccine indemnity clause, sir, so that the fund can be allotted to the patients who tend to face the issues of mortality or morbidity, severe mortality or morbidity because of usage of such vaccines. Only when we provide this buffer capacity, I think giving this vaccine indemnity would be a wise option for us.
What is COVAX program?
Yes, sir. So COVAX program is by the WHO, sir, initiated by the WHO and the global nations in order to increase the access of vaccine as well as to address the inequity in how the COVID is treated within the less developed and developing nations, sir.
So is India supposed to get something from COVAX program?
Yes, sir. We have been one of the major manufacturer of the vaccines, as well as also someone who have been on the side of receiving end also, sir. And yes, sir, we have gained and we have contributed also as a part of COVAX in between the first and second wave.
Okay. Now, a couple of days back, India sent for sea trial of its first indigenous aircraft carrier.
Yes, sir.
Now there's a two group. One group is saying that India doesn't need aircraft carrier, while Indian Navy itself is seeking the development and production of third aircraft carrier. So which way should government go? Whether it should avoid going for third one, or should it accept the demand of Indian Navy?
Sir, to my limited knowledge regarding the defense sector, I think the stance of government as well as Navy goes right, sir, because Navy knows what are its requirements, but at the same time, government of India would have also thought in the same lines, probably improving the resilience in how the defense sector has to run. It is also important for the government to take care of its import liability whenever it is trying to limit its capacities in defense sector. And also, sir, that defense appliances or kind of tanks, ships or missiles take many years to have to see their destiny also. So rejecting them now wouldn't be a wise option after years whenever you might be in requirement. So I think we need to go for the third carrier also, sir.
There was this new education policy to 2020. What is the salient feature and why was it needed at this point of time?
Sir, I think it's more or less more relevant right now, sir. And salient features, sir, first thing, sir, it has proposed a change in how the school curriculum has to run. And also it provided the pre-formal education, which is very required at the age of 3 to 6 years. And it also made it a point that the gross enrollment ratio as well as the expenditure done for education has to be increased to almost 6% of GDP. And its other steps are like going for academic bank of credits is very relevant, sir, in present times, because we need multidisciplinary students right now who suit to the demands of industry. And we having 62% of population between 15 to 65, it is important that we skill our youth in the same direction. So yes, sir, NEP is very relevant now, and its functioning is very important for us to see how the demographic dividend tends to turn.
Okay, Srija, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Professor.
Thank you. Ji, thank you very much. Srija, you done an MBBS in 2018 from a
Yes,
medical
sir.
college at private medical college located in Andhra, and that I presume that you have been preparing for civil service examinations since then, right?
Sir, I have done
Or
it
did
in
you
a
work somewhere?
government. Sir, I have done it in government medical college, sir, Usmania Medical College, and
Pune Medical College, I'm sorry. My
yes.
correction. Yeah. And did you work anywhere thereafter?
Sir, 2018 was my final year, sir. Then we get to do 1 year of compulsory internship in the hospital. So
Right.
I've done it, sir. Then I have started my preparation.
Right. Now, my question to you is, what has been your, you have this community medicine as one of your subjects in your MBBS program.
Yes,
What
sir.
has been your experience in visiting some of the healthcare units or primary healthcare centers in the hinterland, specifically in the rural areas? What are the challenges and what is the state of affairs? And how would you tackle them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As part of my SPM community medicine posting, I reached the PHCs, CHCs, and UCHCs. And a few problems I have seen is the connectivity, sir. We ourselves used to take some 3 hours to reach to the sub center every day. And the second thing, the quality of drugs and the quantity of drugs. Sir. It was seen that a single drug was used for many different ailments which they were facing, and they used to even distribute the single ointment to many patients, asking them to get the small vessels so that they can fill it into it. And also the third thing, sir, is the availability of minimum basic necessities. Like an ANM and a male health worker tends to stay in the sub center, but there was not even proper sanitation facilities like washrooms or toilets for the ashas and ANMs who enter there. So these were few things which I have seen, sir. And how it could be corrected would be firstly increasing their numbers, sir. It is quite easy to increase a one-roomed sub-center so that the health requisitions could also be sufficient.
All right. So this is what was your finding, your description of the state of affairs there. So
Yes,
what
sir.
2 or 3 specific measures you would suggest to improve the state of affairs in primary health centers?
So first thing is increasing their number, at the same time increasing their quality, sir. And second thing is improving the connectivity of these centers to the villages or the population. And third thing is creating a kind of accountability on the health workers who are present in them, sir. Making the people to know that it is their right and it is their right to dignity to get the service which they are intended to get from this PSC.
So what kind
So
of I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. What kind of an accountability you would like to fix?
yes,
And,
sir.
and to whom, on whom?
So it could be firstly at the level of the Gram Panchayat, sir. The Gram Panchayat level, we can take the help of Sarpanch and the medical officer who tends to oversight the 1 to 5 PHCs. And also, sir, we can create a kind of, already there may be existing SHGs also, sir, self-help groups, or we can create one where they also address the issue of, they also tend to fill up the vacuum of patient community, so that they tend to ask the health institution their rights as and when they require. So I think on all these spheres we can work out, sir, for creating accountability.
Okay. Can you, first of all, describe what are the phases involved in drug discovery process? You have to just identify them.
Yes, sir. Sir, drug discovery firstly is going on for identifying what is suiting to the disease, sir. Once the discovery is done, maybe it could be extract of plant or extract of some other thing or formulation itself. Once the formulation is made, then it is to be tried on the animals, sir. There will be a phase and experimenting on the animals. Then it will be phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 trials, sir. And 1 to 3 trials would be in proportionately increasing the number of the sample size, and then identifying the adverse events which follows after taking the drugs and the associated factors, sir. And once the drug is released, the drug is generally released after phase 3, sir. So phase 4 would be post-market surveillance, how the drug is doing after, does it have any long-term side effects and all, and is the brand maintaining the quality. this would be few things which we do in phase 4, sir.
So what is in this connection? What is efficacy and what is toxicity?
Yes,
And
sir.
where do you really pitch them? In which phase you will pitch these two?
So toxicity is something which we find in acute stages, sir, like within a short span. So it could be fixed in phase 1, 2, 3, or even the animal experimenting phase also, sir. I think so, sir. This could be one thing. And regarding efficacy, I think even in the phase 4 trial, we don't get a proper percentage of how the drug is going to work, because a drug, human body is itself very much diverse, sir. A single drug cannot show similar kind of impacts on the whole population. So it creates a kind of range how efficacious, how good it is going to work. So I think till phase 4 we need to wait how good the drug is going to work. So
Now tell me, how complex is the process? Number one, how uncertain is the process, and how, in terms of duration, what is the average duration it takes from the time you take up a particular medicine for the drug discovery to development to the subsequent phases, and lastly, how much does it cost? These are four aspects.
sir, regarding how complex it is, it depends on the disease, sir. And also the kind of the institutions or the facilities drug manufacturing company has. Do they have BSL 4 or 3 kind of facilities, high-end technologies and also. And regarding how uncertain it depends on the kind of population, the sample size, and their how they have chosen the sample, and how they have conducted the trials, sir. That would depict the uncertainty. And regarding time, sir, again, the time is a relative thing, sir. For different drugs, it goes in different way. But probably every kind of research to be successful and for a drug to be of good efficacy, I think it takes more or less 3 to 5 years, sir, with present technologies. And regarding the cost, sir, I'm not exactly sure how much it costs, but yes, sir, it's a capital intensive sector for sure.
Okay. My next question to you is that if you were a superhero heroine, okay, what would be your superpowers?
Yes, sir, superhero in India. Superhero in India.
Yeah, in social setting or in your surroundings, in your ecosystem, wherever you perceive yourself to be. But
Yes.
the moot point is, what would be your superpowers?
So my first superpower would be positivity, sir.
Okay.
My optimism would be my first superpower. And second thing, my ability to understand the issues at ground level and bring out a rational approach, which actually suits to the needs. That would be my second superpower, sir. And
Okay.
third thing would be adding a touch of empathy and along with logic to every kind of challenge which I will be facing, and then addressing the demand.
Now, all of these characteristics we possess. Only thing is we need to realize the potential to put them into good, effective use. But these
Yes.
are not superpowers per se. These we possess already. Anyway, that's besides the point. Now, can you explain the use of emerging technologies in the health sector at large, and in particular the drug discovery process? I would like you to be as brief as possible.
Yes, sir. Sir, in health sector, using artificial intelligence to address the common doubts, sir, and also using the blockchain technology in projects like National Digital Health Mission. And regarding drug discovery, sir, the latest CRISPR-Cas9 technology, and also using the biosafety level for labs, sir, for easy and harmless discovery of vaccines.
Okay. All right. Do you think this particular initiative, sort of on the part of the government to allow emergency use of vaccines, is putting the people at large to greater health risks? Because due processes are not being followed. Now, you just described in detail the drug discovery process. Vaccine is also a kind of a new medicine for this during this pandemic, and we are short-circuiting the process. So, don't you think it is putting the entire populace into a tremendous health risk? What's your take on that?
Sir, this emergency use authorization, I would like to view in not as a short circuit, sir, but instead increasing our speed in making this in crossing the same route. Because after the phase 1-2 trials with a significantly large population or sample size, we have approved this vaccine, sir. And also when we tend to counterweigh how the COVID would have resulted in the number of deaths or case rate it would have resulted into, and also how the vaccines could have helped in preventing the same. I think the vaccines take an upper hand, sir. So in both the things, I do think what we are doing right now is quite justified.
And yet, the later phase could be far more critical. And you do not know, you as a medical professional would go by it that there could be delayed responses to all this administration of vaccines, etc. And there could be, maybe we are in for bigger problems. I mean, just a conjecture. Last question from me. Why did dinosaurs disappear from the face of Earth?
So the proposed theory was an asteroid has struck the Earth, and because of that, then it resulted in volcanic eruptions.
Where
And
did it strike? Where did it strike?
sir, I'm unaware of that fact, sir.
I don't think there were any volcanic eruptions. Okay. Anything you have to say further on this?
Sir, I just knew that an asteroid has struck the Earth and it brought about changes in temperature and environment, and that couldn't be suited for the dinosaurs to sustain, sir. This was what this was limited thing which I know about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Over to Karna sir.
Srija,
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. Srija,
Yes,
what
sir.
I see in your DAF is that you have a hobby of diary writing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how often do you practice it?
Sir, I write it every day.
You write it every day.
Yes.
Okay. So when you cleared mains,
Yes, sir.
what did you write down?
Sir, when I cleared mains, I was just subtle, sir. There was a feeling of contentment rather than joy or happiness altogether, because there is another phase which I have to go, and I was quite contented with what I have done till then. So the same thing I have written in my diary also, sir.
Okay, okay. And you have also mentioned Telugu classical music.
Yes.
So have you learnt it formally?
Yes, sir, I've learned it, but in parts, sir, like 2 years once and 2 years the other time.
Okay, okay, okay. That's good. Srija, you were born in Warangal.
Yes, sir, Varangal.
Okay, can you tell me some of the products that have GI tag, which are from Warangal?
Yes, sir, surely. So the Varangal Duris, sir, the carpets, they are made up of vegetable colors, sir. They're quite
Okay.
famous abroad also.
Okay.
And the Pemberti metal crafts, sir, where the brass is made to other to the bezel, and it's quite famous, sir. It is quite famous in exports also, where Varangal does, which Varangal does. So the Pemberti metal craft and the Varangal that is carpets.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, Shrija, how would you define Andhra Pradesh? Is it primarily an agricultural state or an industrial state?
So both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana are agricultural states, sir.
Okay.
Almost 60% of our population is dependent on agriculture.
Okay, okay. And and in Telangana, because you are
Yes.
from Hyderabad.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So in Telangana, how much percentage of population is dependent on agriculture?
Sir, it is 62%, sir.
62%. And which
Yeah.
are the major crops?
So the major crops are rice, maize, and cotton, sir.
Rice, maize, and cotton.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, that's good. You have also mentioned meditation as one of your hobbies.
Yes, sir.
So, how has meditation contributed to your personality?
So firstly, it brought kind of subtleness in my process of thinking, sir.
Okay.
And secondly, it made me more contented for myself that I could allot at least 15 to 20 minutes for settling down so that I could recoup my energies for whole 24/7. And third thing, sir, I think meditation uh, has this tendency to unite yourself more with self, the kind of what we tend to call spirituality, sir, looking the things from the other side also. So I think even that is more imbibed into me once I started meditating.
Okay, okay, that's good. Shrija, if you have to teach children basic meditation, so
Yes,
how
sir.
will you teach them?
Sir, I personally I think meditation has to be always be done under the guidance of a teacher, sir.
Hmm.
And so I would make them reach to a good teacher. And then firstly, sir, for and recognizing this fact that children need to understand why meditation, and then should be introduced into the concept of meditation, and only then they can sustain it longer, sir. So I would explain the importance of meditation to them. And then thirdly, I would make trials that at least 1 to 2 months they just get settled down with the posture, and tend to just close their eyes and think whatever they wanted to think for. And then I would ask them to go into exact process of how they need to control their thoughts and need to focus.
Okay, okay. Shrija, you must have seen that whenever there is a talk of some alternative medicine
Yes, sir.
about any disease, there is a lot of debate and dispute over it. I mean, the IMA says something that no, how you can do it, and all that stuff happens every time the government plans something, let's say related to Ayurveda or something. So
Yes.
why is there so much opposition from the allopathic medicine community?
Sir, I think it's because of the information asymmetry, sir, which not just allopathic professionals get to have, but also the public at large. And
Okay.
second thing, we also lack the facts, how good an Ayurvedic medicine is going to work. There are hardly these facts which come into public. And
Okay.
thirdly, sir, it is already said that Ayurveda is something which is based on the old scriptures. So this
Okay.
in turn will make the public to think that this is something which is not right and tested, and may also take more time. So probably standardizing and then bringing in the facts and addressing this issue of information asymmetry could be a few reasons, sir. Why not just medical professionals, but also public at large tend to doubt why they are not suiting to the needs.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Recently, Ramappa Temple has been given the UNESCO World Heritage Tag.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me something about the Ramappa Temple. What is special about it?
Yes, sir. Um, First specialty is that it is named after a sculptor, sir, Ramappa,
Okay.
which is seen
Okay.
nowhere. And
Okay.
second thing, sir, it's sandbox technology,
Hmm.
using sand, lime, jaggery, and karakaya, so that the foundation tends to buffer the seismicity which may originate. And also, sir, the floating brick concept, which they brought in the architecture, so that it lightens the structure on whole. And if at all there is any kind of earthquakes or any destruction, the roof doesn't fall over easily. This is the concept behind it, sir. So they use basalt as a roofing and all. And they even made small tunnels within the walls and foundations, sir. And they have poured this molten iron so that the structure as a whole tends to stand as one. That will in turn, that is also to prevent the seismicity at that time. So that is the reason also that even though it was constructed in way back in 12th to 13th century, it still stands high now.
Oh, okay. 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 That's good. And right now, we are seeing that in southern states, the spread of COVID has slowed down, but it's still there, particularly in Kerala and also in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu.
Mm.
One of the arguments that is given is that it's fine that reporting is happening, more testing is happening, that's why cases are being shown. But it has been almost 10 to 11 months now. So do you think it is also a problem of not being able to control the spread of it and not just good reporting, because we can't always give the reason that good reporting is that is why more number of cases are there. So what's your take on this?
Yes, sir, I surely agree with this thing that not controlling could have also been one of the reasons, sir. And that is probably that good lockdown measures which the southern states would have taken and then releasing it for economic revival could have been the major reason that the population again started getting exposed to the COVID virus. And second thing, as already mentioned, sir, that good reporting system. And third thing, I think the vaccination rate or the vaccination wastage has also been seen on a higher end towards the southern states. For example, in Telangana itself, in initial stage, it was 8%, 8%, sir, almost nearer to the national average. And that could also have been one of the reasons that the case rate has been on the higher end.
Okay, okay. One last question, Srija.
Yes, sir.
Whenever we come across figures of zero prevalence, whether
Yes.
in some state it is 70%, some state it is 45%. So, keeping in mind prevention, how should we actually interpret the zero prevalence number?
So, firstly, zero prevalence will give us an idea of the exposure rate of the population and also the strict lockdown the government has done. And the third thing, the number of mild cases which would have occurred, and also gives us insight of how the vaccination rate, vaccination policy has run in any states. And also the kind of intensity, was it more affected during the first wave or in the second wave, because of which the antibodies couldn't face off even
Okay.
after 6 months. So in this way, it depicts many things, sir. Also, the efficiency with which the local government would have pulled in the statistics regarding the case rate and death rate, it also gives insight into it, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Srija.
Thank you, sir.
Srija,
Yes, sir.
let's talk about your performance and what you should be doing. See, Srija, being a doctor, qualified
sir.
doctor, you got an opportunity. So every opportunity brings some challenges.
Yes, sir.
See, especially after second wave of COVID, this country has seriously realized that it needs medical infrastructure and good quality doctors. Now, we cannot create good quality doctors just in a day
Yes, sir.
or in a short span of time. However, and as far as medical infrastructure goes, it needs huge investment. So what country needs? An expert or a team of experts who could suggest the country as how to go about. So that way, if a civil servant can
Yes,
be an asset, right? Now that's why I focused on COVID only. I just wanted to understand how differently you look at the situation.
Yes, sir.
But see, when is your interview, by the way?
It is on September 6th, sir.
You still have got enough time. See, Srija, your answers were, as good as that of any other, science graduate or arts graduate. There was no distinction between your answer and others' answer. See, I or in fact the board would expect something more. I mean, something different, something which actually could give insight to the progression of the virus and the approach. That was lacking. You need to make it more personalized.
Yes, sir.
Right? How exactly are you going to handle the COVID thing? See, I've been taking mocks to all the candidates, and I've been asking questions to arts graduate and science graduate and to medical students. I would expect the answer from a medical student superior and more insightful than
Yes,
that of arts graduate.
Yes,
That was
sir.
missing. You need to work
Yes.
on that.
Yes, sir. Sure.
See, second wave came. Second wave had had actually, generated different kind of challenges like oxygen and ICU beds and all. However, we do not actually know as a normal person, how would the third wave be like, right? But as a doctor, you probably, your wording or your words would carry more weight. So you should be able to at least give some insight that what would be the face of third wave, if at all it comes. And if it comes, how exactly would it come? How exactly would it spread? If it is going to be more virulent, how much more, right? So being a doctor, you must have studied all those aspects. Now, being a doctor in administration, how exactly are you going to handle that situation? So by asking this question, actually, I wanted to listen from you that what is your suggestion for existing administrators? At which rate should they be preparing? What different kind of things they should be preparing? Also, since you are a doctor and you have also studied ethics, I was expecting a little different answer related to indemnity clause and waiver of indemnity clause. Let's try to understand those who were admitted in hospital during second wave, and if they had to spend a couple of weeks in hospital, they had to pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees on their treatment. Now just imagine that if those people were vaccinated, they probably were not needed to get admitted. So what is the fear? What is the reason behind having indemnity clause? That if something goes wrong with a person, who would pay? Why can't government pay? Imagine, I'm just telling you the situation of Delhi. There are 30,000 non-ICU, semi-ICU and ICU beds in Delhi. And all those beds were filled with patients for complete 1.5 months. Now, if you look at the expenditure that government must have incurred on those patients, that must have gone into crores of rupees. Crores of rupees. But we have not yet heard a single casualty because of vaccination. Now, if we look at Pfizer and Moderna, these vaccines are already being administered at least in USA that we are aware of. We have not witnessed any kind of casualty there. So even if see what ethics says. Ethics says that we should think about the greater good. What is the greater good? Saving life of people, right?
Yes, sir.
At one point of time in our country, more than 4,000 people were dying every day. If we had vaccinated people, we probably would have saved those lives. Those are more important things. Saving one person is important, or saving 4,000 people a day is important. Of course, saving 4,000 people a day is important. So if we give that waiver of indemnity clause, we can bring in these two vaccines. Plus, under COVAX program, we probably would have got 75 lakh vaccine of Moderna.
Yes, sir.
So just don't go by this block mind that, everybody saying that we should not be giving, any relaxation or indemnity. Or every country has given indemnity clause waiver, because saving hundreds and thousands of lives is more important than saving just one life. If at all something goes wrong with vaccine, maybe a couple of people may die or may not die, or at max would be severely hospitalized. Critically hospitalized. Is that a bigger thing to handle, or saving life is more important? Right?
Yes, sir.
As a doctor, you should have said that yes, we should waiver the indemnity clause. Bring the vaccine, as many vaccines as possible. Give vaccine, so that we could save the third wave. We could save lives. We have seen, people dying, thousands of people dying every day in this country. And also, recent Zero survey says that there was under-reporting in the tune of 40 times. So that means when 4,000 people were dying, actually more than 1.5 lakh people were dying every day.
Yes, sir.
Think about it. Don't just because you're preparing for civil service doesn't mean that, you you think like normal guys. You are a medical, you have got opportunity. They would be interested in listening your perspective. Think about it, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Best
sir.
of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Shrija, to me, I mean, of course, I've in fact been able to identify quite a few positives based on interactions which you had. You are a very nice, very good communicator. You're able to put across what you wish to say. You're pretty well aware about age. General awareness is good about your other domain knowledge also is relatively quite all right. You're an anchored person. You know your ground where you stand. Your answers were well structured, right? So these are very good points, positives going around you. That makes you a wonderful, great candidate with tremendous potential. You can certainly make it. Now, coming to specifics, drug discovery process, you were more or less on dot. However, there were certain gaps. So therefore, go through it. And coming from medical background, and nowadays, talking about, let's say, vaccines being developed. So this is a contemporary topic. So therefore, you will do well to and pair it up with more detailed information. Then, if you were a superheroine, well, the powers which you, or the characteristics which you articulated are well within us. I was looking for some phenomenal answers, some imaginative answer from you, and that is to really unearth the creative side of your persona, right? That was the intention. So I don't know whether such questions can come or not come, but the idea is to really emerging technologies you have described, but deepen this understanding of use of emerging technology. Dinosaurs, certainly one of the theories say that they disappeared because of a meteor hitting off coast of Mexico, and there were a lot of dust which had formed not a volcano, and the dust fell down, and then it brought down the temperature in the surroundings, and that really made it inhabitable for the dinosaurs to survive. That's one theory. Others say that they had some natural disappearance. Okay, so all in all, you handled the questions well. However, there's always room for improvement. So with your potential, I'm sure you should be able to take it forward further and do well on the D-Day. All the very best to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Shrija.
Yes,
Shrija, I think you were quite confident. Keep that up.
Yes.
And your content is good, particularly related to medical science or whether it is related to Andhra. Just that since COVID is still there in the southern states,
Yes,
so
sir.
keep a track of that, what the governments are doing, how they are dealing with it, because
Yes.
that is probably going to be a question. When is your interview?
Sir, it is on September 6th, sir.
6 September. So you have got some time to go. So
Yes.
keep a track on that, and also things related to Andhra Pradesh, like 3 capitals
Yes.
and things like that which are happening in Andhra Pradesh related to governance. Those are important, and also related to current affairs as well. Globally, what is happening on the health scenario specifically.
Yes, sir.
That is quite likely to be asked. How because we are seeing rise in hospitalizations in United States and Europe right now. So that is an important thing to look at. So keep a track of that, okay, and keep up your confidence. And also, if you can talk with your peers who are preparing or on issues related in your DAF, that
Yes,
will
sir.
also give you confidence. If you have a conversation on these issues, like issues related to Andhra Pradesh or other areas in your DAF, that will also give you more confidence. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the best, Shrija.
Thank you so much, sir.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civils Daily.